5 terrifying truths about Easter that will haunt you forever. Number 5. The thing that hatched from the cross. He was not crucified. He was contained. There is an ancient crucifix, unlike any other, hidden deep within the foundation's black vaults. A relic recovered from the ruins beneath Vatican Sub-Basement 13, labeled SCP-ECST-00X. The cross is massive, blackened like obsidian, etched with glyphs in no known language. At its center is no statue of Christ. Instead, there is a cocoon, roughly humanoid in shape, wrapped in strands of flesh-like thorn vines, pulsating gently. No one ever sees it move, but the pulsing never stops. On Easter Sunday, every year at exactly 3:16 a.m., the cocoon cracks slightly, releasing a single drop of thick, dark ichor. When it touches the floor, it burns through metal. Cameras distort. Staff assigned to monitor it report hearing choirs singing backwards, and many experience visions. A man with no eyes, nailed to a cross of meat, whispering truths that shatter minds. The Foundation believes this object is not merely anomalous, but apocalyptic. Historical evidence suggests that this cross predates Christianity by millennia. The original crucifixion, they now believe, was not symbolic, but a containment ritual meant to hold back a being known only in forbidden texts as the crowned larva. When Judas kissed Christ, it was not betrayal, it was activation. The crucifixion was not sacrifice, it was sealing. But something is weakening. The relic has begun leaking names, and one researcher who heard them immediately gouged out her eyes and wrote, "He hatches in blood" across the vault door. On Easter morning of this year, for the first time ever, the cocoon twitched, and something inside it knocked. Once. Site 81 is on full lockdown. No one gets in, and no one dares let it out. Number 4. The church that ate children. They walked in. They never walked out. In the quiet religious town of Eldershade, there stands a chapel that no one speaks of. St. Istvan's, built in 1891, had long been abandoned, until it wasn't. The story begins with an Easter Sunday in 1993. The congregation of a nearby parish had been relocated temporarily while their own church underwent renovations. Naturally, they turned to St. Istvan's, though the townsfolk warned, that place never lets go. The morning was bright. Children wore flower crowns. Parents carried Easter baskets. 17 families entered the old stone chapel. Only the priest came back, screaming. Inside, there was no trace of struggle, just a trail of white feathers strewn from pew to altar. And something else, wet rhythmic breathing echoing from the walls as if the church itself had lungs. Survivors from nearby homes later reported strange sounds, chanting in reverse, bones cracking behind stone walls, and the melting of crucifixes hung too close to the building's front door. Foundation officials later intervened after a group of paranormal investigators who live-streamed their visit were swallowed whole by the chapel, captured on camera before the feed turned to static. When they exhumed the site, they didn't find bodies. They found a stomach. A biological cavity stretching beneath the church floor, complete with intestinal linings made of wood and pews. It pulsed like something alive, and within it were thousands of tiny teeth, baby teeth. A wall carving found deep in the subfloor read, "This is my body, broken for you. Eat and become me." St. Istvan's is now under constant surveillance, wrapped in concrete, encased in metal, blessed monthly by Foundation-approved clergy. But every Easter, without fail, The cameras show movement inside. Something hungry, something whispering. Number 3. The Resurrection Machine. Built to defy death, cursed to repeat it. In 1978, deep in the pine forests of Oregon, a team of rogue scientists, expelled from several academic institutions, completed construction on a forbidden project known only as the Resurrection Machine. Funded through offshore accounts and protected by fringe religious sects, this device was rumored to bridge the divine and the digital. Their goal? To conquer death. On Easter, the machine was a towering iron monolith, 12 feet high, built with salvaged church bells, antique medical instruments, and wires harvested from decommissioned Cold War satellites. At its core was something worse. A single, mummified human heart, still twitching with unprovoked, unnatural spasms, suspended in a glass chamber filled with an oily, crimson fluid. On Easter Sunday, 1979, they ran their first trial. They chose a test subject, a 6-year-old girl who had died 2 days prior in a drowning accident. Her body was placed on a brass table below the machine, electrodes sunk into her scalp and chest. As they flipped the master switch, a choir of distorted Gregorian chants began playing from the machine's built-in speakers. Chants that no one had programmed. Then, movement. Her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened. But what returned wasn't the child. The entity now inhabiting her body began to scream in ancient Greek, words no one could translate, and her face twisted into multiple expressions at once. One moment sobbing, the next laughing, then snarling in absolute rage. The machine vibrated violently. A priest on site tried to intervene, placing a crucifix to her forehead. His arm caught fire. The girl thing rose, levitating into the air, eyes rolling back, arms spread like crucifixion. And then, with a loud, metallic groan, the resurrection machine shut down. They buried the girl again, deep. But in the weeks that followed, animals around the site were found partially dissected, with crude crosses carved into their flesh. And the machine? It's still there, abandoned, rusting, but humming, very faintly, every Easter morning. Number 2. The Easter Massacre of 1904. The eggs were not chocolate. In the spring of 1904, the town of Elm Ridge, Ohio, was bustling with preparations for its largest Easter festival yet. Streamers in pastel colors fluttered from rooftops. Church bells rang in joyous peals, and every child clutched a painted basket, eager for the hunt. It was a postcard-perfect Sunday morning, until the first scream shattered the silence. At 9:12 a.m., just as the town's mayor stepped up to deliver the Easter proclamation, a wave of panic erupted from the eastern field. Children had begun to find something wrong. The first egg cracked open in little Susie Milner's hands. It wasn't filled with chocolate. It was filled with teeth. Within minutes, a roar, inhuman, guttural, came from behind the church. Something rose from the tulip-covered graves. Witnesses described it as a mass of fur, meat, and teeth, crawling like a spider with too many legs and no defined face. Its skin peeled and reformed constantly, like it was trying to choose a shape and failing miserably. Some said it bore antlers, others a crown of thorns. But one thing was consistent: it smelled like rot and incense. The entity rampaged through the town square. Every basket seemed to attract it, every pastel-colored container, every egg hidden in the grass. It hunted them down, screeching in a high-pitched, childlike voice, mimicking the laughter of the very kids it pursued. Police reports were vague. Most were burned in a courthouse fire 3 weeks later. Survivors, scattered and incoherent, spoke only in riddles and prayers. Elm Ridge's population dropped by 70% that month. No Easter festival has ever been held there again. And on Easter morning, even now, the cemetery gates lock themselves. No one knows why. But if you press your ear to the wrought iron fence, they say you can hear a child giggling. And then a deep chewing sound that doesn't stop. Number 1. The Hollow Hare, Easter's most disturbing legend. In the quiet countryside of northern Germany, nestled among the fog-shrouded hills, there was a village that no longer exists on any map. Locals refer to it only in whispers. Osterbruck, a name derived from the old dialect meaning Easter fracture. It was here, long before the sanitized pastel celebration we know today, that the legend of the Hollow Hare was born. They said it came every Easter Eve, not bringing candy or eggs, but something far darker. Children were told to place baskets by the door, not for treats, but as offerings. Small trinkets, bits of food, pieces of cloth, anything to appease the creature that watched from the woods. If the offering was not enough, it would take something else. The hare wasn't soft or cuddly. It stood over 6 feet tall, shaped like a man, twisted into the form of a rabbit. Its body grotesquely hollowed out from the inside. No organs, no soul, just a black, echoing cavity. Witnesses claimed you could hear screams trapped within its chest, voices of the children it had taken. In 1847, the village priest, Father Grayman, attempted to exorcise the creature. He gathered the townsfolk in the church, candles lit, psalms echoing against the stained glass windows. But the hollow hare did not approach the church. Instead, it waited. One by one, villagers began disappearing on the way home. Only shoes were left behind, small, muddy, blood-spattered shoes. When the village finally burned to the ground 1 year later, some said it was the hollow hare itself, crawling through the fields with its twisted limbs, setting fire with the heat of the souls it had devoured. Now, every Easter, there are still reports, quiet ones, of children who vanish in the night. Baskets by their doors, doors left wide open. No prints, no signs of struggle, only a faint smell of smoke and the echo of something hollow. If this story chilled you to the bone, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with the darkest files from the shadows. Comment below, which part of Easter will you never see the same way again? We'll see you next time in the silence between screams.